Hi all and welcome back to the third episode today. It is an absolute honour today to have the heart, the brain and the soul of the Scotch College community and of all boarding houses, our captains Tom Moorhouse and Georgie Lyons. Welcome aboard.
Thanks for having us, Sebo.
So we'll start off, just if you could introduce yourself, Tom and Georgie.
I'm Tom. I'm from Penola, which is sheep farm about 4 hours from here.
And I'm Georgie and I'm from Burrow, which is about 2 hours from here as well on a sheep farm.
Lovely. So last week was our Borders Week, and what were some of the things that happened there, Tom?
Yeah, hugely successful week. So on the Tuesday, we started off with the Borders vs Daybug Sports Comp, and Borders took that out, which was great.
Awesome.
And then we welcomed some Year 5s through on the Wednesday morning, and then Wednesday lunch we had a charity. We had a fundraiser for the Royal Flying Doctor Service. And then on the Thursday was the Borders vs Daybugs relay, which was a new initiative, and that was great as well.
And then followed by the assembly on the Friday. And Georgie, from all those events, what was your highlight across Borders Week?
My highlight was definitely the barbecue. We had lots of people come out and help out, and then the lawns, it was a nice day, so everyone was out and about, and all the boarders cooked up a storm, except for the onions were a bit crunchy, but that's okay.
So it's an absolutely massive week for our boarders, as we know. We've got 100 here at Scotch, and we've got all these. We've got internationals. We've got people from all across the globe, and we're all in this one boarding house together. Tom, what do you reckon the overarching goal of Borders Week was?
Yeah, so just to bring more attention to the Borders, I feel like we're usually a pretty underrated part of the Scotch community. So to bring the Borders to the forefront for a week was great.
Yeah. And what are some of the characteristics, Georgie, that make up such a wonderful week? What's essential to making Borders Week so special?
I think just everyone getting involved and showing off the best parts of the boarding house, which was also good when we had the Year 5s up. We all got to reflect on how nice the place we get to live is.
And what were some of the best parts of the boarding house in your experience?
Probably the areas where we all get to spend time together, the common rooms.
And Tom, from that Year 5 tour, what was some of the questions or, insights that they gave?
Yeah, they had great questions actually. What comes to mind? They were all pretty intrigued about PlayStations and Xboxes. Also about how we kind of hand up our technologies at night and bedtimes and stuff. And mainly about the rules that we have to live with every day.
And what are some of those rules that we have to live by every day?
Oh, well, for example, hand-ups of technology start at 8:30 for Year 7s and 8s. And we also have a very kind of, I wouldn't say strict schedule, but it is a pretty rigorous schedule where we've got breakfast at a set time, lunch at a set time, and dinner at a set time, and homework at a set time. So I think it was a, eye-opener for them who probably very different at home, so...
And Georgie, do you think like this routine that Tom's trying to say that throughout the day, everything's at a certain time, do you say that helps build some sort of independence or organisation?
Yeah, I feel like in the boarding house everyone's a lot more organised, and we talk a lot about people, if we were day students, how it would be a lot harder. So I think the structure is really good for the people who live there.
And if you could continue that on, what's it like to live with 100 people around the world? What's the feeling? What's it like? Coming from a farm, a country place to a boarding house living with 100 people.
Yeah, I think it's so good. I love it how we can all have a similarity living together, but everyone has a different story. So you can talk to a single person around the room and everyone has something different to talk about. It really makes you learn a lot about the globe.
Certainly was an eye-opener. Back in my days in Year 8 was my first year, and coming from a small country town, and there's I've got a mate from Korea and, all over the world, which is, pretty amazing.
Yep. And Tom, if you could continue on that with all the eye-opener and being a memory, what would you say is the biggest memory that you've had a part of boarding?
I love the relationships you build in boarding. Obviously, you, Sebo, one of my good mates, and all the staff there, really great to get along with. So just memories of, hanging out on the weekend with staff, and they're really great to make it feel like home pretty much.
Yeah, awesome. And Georgie, what would your favourite memory be from your boarding experience?
Yeah, I reckon mine is also spending time with my friends in their room and stuff. It's you've got 12 other siblings in my year level, all the girls, and it's so good. And borrowing each other's clothes is also great.
Yeah, it's massive. And do you find during the week, Tom, if you're struggling with, say, some schoolwork, which you never are, but if you're struggling, there's always some sort of assistance there for you from others, from tutors or from your mates as well?
Yeah, absolutely. The boarding house probably employs 5 people to come in during the night to help just with homework. So I think that's just an advantage we have over the day kids, which makes it so much easier.
Yeah, massively. And Georgie, reflecting on boarding, what are you going to miss most?
I think I'm going to miss living with my friends, but even like just everyone in general, like not if they're my closest friends, just walking around the house and knowing everyone, saying hi to everyone and being in like, it feels like a big community, which I really love.
And Tom, on that theme of belonging and walking around and saying hi to everyone, what's it like to wake up in the morning and know that you're walking to breakfast at 7:30 in the morning with 10 of your mates around you?
It's pretty special. You know, there's always someone that you can have a chat to, and just so many different interests and hobbies throughout the boarding house, and so much to learn about other people as well, which I really love.
And what are some of those interests and hobbies that people get up to?
I mean, obviously you're pretty heavily involved with all the boys downstairs with footy. You'd know personally that, probably half of the boys down there are involved in the footy program, which you kind of get involved in as well. So even that is the coaching and playing aspect of hobbies, and yeah.
And as our audience would know, an essential part of the boarding house, and in particular the boys' side, is the courtyard that we have and our competition of the cricket league. Tom, could you talk us through the cricket league?
Yeah, so started with Henry Guerin probably a couple of years ago. Seb would argue that he invented the
Founding fathers, Henry
founding
and I.
father, that's right.
Continue.
And it's evolved into be a fiercely competitive, probably daily sports competition.
Absolutely.
And some pretty questionable arguments going on. You have a bit of a history with some bad sportsmanship at times.
Oh, not really. Just the spirit of cricket.
Spirit of
Sometimes
cricket,
others
that's
break
right.
it. Not me, but others can.
As the Poms would say.
Yeah, but that's all right. And Tom, when we sum up, when you look back on your 5 years of boarding over the 1,000 nights that you've done at Torrens Park campus, what would you say is the one particular moment that you've enjoyed most, and why?
One particular moment. I reckon a highlight for me was high tea, last year's high tea in particular. So at the end of every year, the boarders and all the parents and most of the staff as well come along into the chapel, and we have a dinner put on by Paul. And yeah, last year me and Georgie run it, which was a big thing for us because it was our first big event, and it was a big thing, organising everything and speeches and stuff. So yeah, I really love that.
And what's it like to organise an event when you've got 100 students, catering staff, you've got parents, you've got teachers? What's it like putting that all together?
It's good to just delegate to Kathy. That was pretty helpful. Kathy's our receptionist lady, so she got most of that sorted. But speeches and organising who's speaking when, and yeah, it was definitely a new skill that, I'm going to take into the future.
And Georgie, there's also some other experiences with leadership in the boarding house. We start with year 10 and you have clan captaincies, and in year 11 they have the boarding action teams. What's that experience like for growing your leadership throughout boarding?
Yeah, so I did both of them. I think clan captain is good too. It was in my first year, so you get like a bit more confident talking in just a smaller group, and then it encourages you to talk to everyone else, and it makes you realise that no one's really that scary. And then when you get to year 11, the BAT is a really good initiative because it links to the school a lot. And I think it's really good running the morning meeting. You get to experience, getting 100 people to do an activity, which is good. And I think that really helped both Tom and I this year. Like, it didn't feel any different going into captain, like running meetings and stuff like that.
And Tom, would you say that's one of the great parts of the boarding house is growing this aspect of leadership? And if we look within the boarding house, there's numerous people that do have leadership roles around the school, from being clan captains in year 10 are now house captains, and boarding action team members now have, SAT roles, and we even have one of the school captains that is a boarder as well. Do you reckon that's a massive aspect of growing leadership?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's a really nice transition starting in year 10 and kind of leading a small group we call our boarding house our family. So, leading in front of your family makes it a bit more comfortable, and then slowly building that up until year 12 really puts you in good stead for leadership roles in year 12, I think.
And on that of leadership, you guys have we're almost finished. There's about 10, 11 weeks to go of year 12. What's the one leadership thing that you reckon you've really endeavoured to explore this year, Tom?
Like the one thing that we've done well,
Or the one characteristic that you didn't think leadership was necessarily, but you've really had to adapt to that?
Yeah, probably just that delegation aspect, I reckon. Trying to involve those younger kids and get them involved, so it's not just how well we do this year and how many initiatives we can set up and so on, but also how well those in the future are going to go. So I think it's just setting up and kind of avoiding just doing it all yourself and giving someone a role to...
Yeah, creating opportunities for others, and hopefully they take that
Yeah,
forward
absolutely.
into the future. Yeah, it's massive. And Georgie, lastly, we'll finish off with dining. And dining's a massive aspect of boarding. And we're lucky enough to have Paul and his crew. And Paul's been here for over 20 years at Scotch doing our dining stuff for the boarders. What's that like to, be a part, of the dining and, Paul and all the crew?
Yeah, so I think, we have our two dining presidents here. You two do a good job of keeping everyone informed of what's happening. But I think having Paul and David and all of the staff there is really good because they're constant. We all have really good relationships with them, and they are really willing to do whatever we would like, which is just what our parents would do. So I think that's really good for us. And Paul is always doing his best, giving us lollies, trying to bribe us, so it's always good.
Yeah, Paul's an absolute superstar. He gives me a few lollies, which is awesome. And Tom, we'll finish up on one key word that summarises the boarding experience. Why, and what would it be? Why?
I'll just say unique.
Unique.
Oh, is that your word, Georgie?
That was.
Georgie, what's your word?
All day. It was unique.
Tom, different word, please.
Different. Is that synonym?
Different. Oh, synonym. Well, there we go.
I mean, that kind of speaks for itself about how differently we do our education and compared to people from home and people here.
Yeah, so to finish up, overall, it's been a massive success, and thank you all for coming on board here today. Sorry for my speech impediment. Thanks for coming on board, Tom and Georgie. It's been wonderful to have you on. It's a massive credit to you being boarders, to move away from your families in year 8 and to be able to adapt and come into a city of 1 million people and do what you do, and the key learnings of expressing the feeling of belonging to giving others a go and growing leadership is a massive credit to you as well. So thank you for your service, and that will wrap up our show today on the Scotch podcast, and next week we'll have episode 4. Thank you.
Thanks, Seb.